Young Justice is back with Season 4. The first 4 episodes are already out. We're also talking Book of Boba Fett. A trailer is finally out. Before we get into all of that, though, I think we should jump into Morbius, the new Sony film. I'm Ravi. This is Was It Good? I'm joined by Krishna and Arjuna, and Mr. Michael is over in the producer's chair. Guys, Morbius. Jared Leto is still a thing.
Yes.
He should go back to doing like the music thing full time.
30 Seconds to Mars?
Yeah, because he's really good at that.
Yeah, it's not so in your face.
And it's easier to ignore, that is for sure.
Yeah, there's
Morbius.
no doubt about that.
I want to try something different. So here on the Was It Good podcast, we always go through, we give our impressions, and then we ask that question of was it good or wasn't it good? Because these are trailers, they're short things, I think let's just jump with the question, right? Because everyone here has seen it. So I'm going to ask Arjuna, was the Morbius trailer good?
No.
And tell me why, though, it's not good. And you get about 30 seconds because I want to be here all day.
Yeah, Sony just doesn't have a clue of like what it's doing with their Spideyverse, and the trailer, like Sony's properties of superheroes, are just all over the place. There's random references. They reference Venom like it's a cultural phenomenon.
I am Venom.
They have different Spider-Man in there, and you also have this uninteresting character in Morbius, and you're trying to make him a hero when he's not. So.
What do you mean they have different Spider-Man in there?
So
in the trailer,
there's references to all 3 Spider-Man.
Oh, I missed all that because I wasn't.
There's a still image of Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man. That's the famous one from the first trailer. Michael Keaton's Vulture is in there, which obviously references Tom Holland's Spider-Man.
Right.
And then even on the Daily Bugle at the top, someone took a still frame, and it references the Rhino and Black Cat, which were featured in Amazing Spider-Man 2, which is the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man.
What's her name dies at the end? Emma Stone.
Yes.
So the question is, and I asked Ravi this question, when does Morbius come out?
Post No Way Home.
Boom.
They've spoiled their own movie.
Yeah.
So is it spoiled then?
Yeah, I mean, if you're referencing 3 different universes in one universe, you spoiler alert for Venom, Let There Be Carnage, by the way, but is it really a spoiler if no one sees it? The post-credit scene features Venom shifting what we assume to be the MCU universe, where he sees Tom Holland Spider-Man. So
once again,
it's all a mess.
Once again, it's just Sony doing this to Disney, throwing out some stuff and being like, you fix the timeline, you deal with it.
I did love, I think at the very beginning of the trailer, it's like Marvel's beloved hero, or like one of Marvel's heroes, and it's like, does which Sony has been doing in association with like Marvel Entertainment. It's just hilarious. Like that they're really like trying to like make you think this is part of the MCU.
The only Morbius I like is from the 1990 Spider-Man animated show.
That's great. It's great art.
It's a great, interesting character, interesting story. I honestly, truly believe this. I believe Morbius from Sony came to be because Jared Leto was sitting at home one day and was like, hey, I want to be in the superhero game. And he just kind of Googled Jared Leto superhero, and I'm sure somebody at some point was like, he would make a great Morbius.
Well, he was in the superhero game. He was the Joker.
I have a bold prediction.
He's trying to be a superhero.
Morbius is a villain tradition.
I have a bold prediction. Oh, I think also our producer has a bold prediction.
Let's hear your bold prediction.
Oh, no, I just wanted to ask Arjuna. I mean, Black Cat and
Rhino.
The other Rhino are in the comics too. So why does that necessarily?
There was something.
That
there's something. I think specifically why people think it's from the Andrew Garfield version is because it's referencing specific events that happened in Amazing Spider-Man 2, with just the wording of the headline. Either it's like the same headline that appeared in Amazing Spider-Man 2, or it's something that is within line of what they did in that movie. So people see it as a potential reference to that,
and not an Easter egg or something.
Could be. I mean, it could be.
They could all be Easter eggs.
Could all be Easter eggs. Yeah. It would just be. I think if you just piggyback off of Michael Keaton's character showing up, Michael Keaton's Vulture showing up, prominent image of Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, and then
also there's the line the cops make where like we haven't seen a big event since San Francisco, which would be a reference to Venom. The fact that he even says at the very end, "I am Venom." Ties into another. It's bizarre.
Also, Doctor Who makes an appearance, and that's all about time
Matt
travel.
Smith is in there. Yeah,
that's just
also the guy from Foundation's in there.
Oh yeah,
and Chernobyl. Yeah,
and Chernobyl.
Jared Harris.
Yeah, but he's playing the character of.
He's great.
Harry
Seldon?
Seldon.
From Foundation?
Because he's got that same like intonation and everything where he's like,
just
do
playing
you
the
want to be a hero?
Yeah, no, it's like he's playing like the scientific mentor.
Yeah.
He's always a scientist.
Who's also bad.
mentor.
But what's your bold prediction on this trailer?
So my
or
bold
this movie, I
for
would
the
say.
movie, yeah. My bold prediction is that they sort of threw the kitchen sink at us in this trailer. So they've got all these weird references. They show us Michael Keaton, presumably as the Vulture, though, as our producer has just written, Michael Keaton and Jared Harris do not have character names in IMDb for whatever reason as of right now. I think that there will be in the movie, probably as a post-credit scene, a Mahershala Ali Blade appearance.
Oh,
Blade and Morbius go together like peanut butter and jelly.
but let's go back.
Sony
yeah,
and
exactly.
Disney do not go
Sony.
together.
Yeah.
They go together like water and oil.
Yeah, but here's the
It's
thing.
not at all.
Well, wait, no, but
here's
water
the thing.
sits
But here's
on
the thing.
oil.
With the
No,
these two
oil
properties,
sits on water?
With these two properties, we see that they are trying to go. And you're right, they don't go together. And it is like oil, but the fact is that they are interconnected. We saw it at the end of Venom, and we're seeing references in this movie as well.
The reason you saw it, though, is because Sony still owns the rights to Spider-Man, so they can
Yeah.
just throw in any Spider-Man characters that they want to.
Yeah.
They don't have to get Disney's blessing or permission to do so.
Right.
I just reading from my read on the sense of that relationship, I could not see like Kevin Feige and Disney being like, yeah, sure, you can have Blade.
I
show
love
up in your
real quick. I
universe."
love how Arjuna says not like Marvel and Disney. He says Kevin Feige
Yeah,
and Disney.
because it's ultimately his
No, I
he's
get
got
that.
the-
I
he
get
calls
that.
the shot,
I just think it's funny that like you're specifying like one individual.
because that one individual hates Sony. That's like not a secret.
But
do you
if
think
they're-
it was like him growing up? He had like his parents had like a Sony VCR or something, and he's like just like he's tortured by like Sony products, so he's like fuck Sony.
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah, you're probably right. But the fact is, though, that Venom and
No,
this
no,
Morbius
you're
are,
absolutely right.
are
Yeah, and
influenced
again, it's a-
are influencing.
it's a
Marvel
bold
events.
prediction, too,
It's a bold,
so.
yeah, it's like, well, why not? What better way to introduce one of the new Marvel characters than in a shitty?
It would be
I just
cool
don't
and
wanna
it
get
would
your
make
hopes up.
sense.
No, my
Because
hopes are not.
Sony would crush
I have zero hopes for this movie. In fact, the only thing that might be able to save it is a Blade cameo.
Well,
What if Wesley Snipes' Blade shows up?
Oh God!
I mean,
then I don't know
That
what's
feels like a bigger fuck you, but yeah, why not?
I don't know what's happening.
We're spending too much time on something that is just a trailer. So
Oh, was the trailer good? No.
no, exactly. I think all of us will say it's no.
I'm
It's too
changing
much.
my answer to yes.
It's too much Jared Leto being weird, and directors and studios need to understand, like, stop letting him be weird. It's not cool. It's not interesting. It's just fucking cringy as hell.
you know what
what
would
would you
actually be a
cast him as,
fascinating
then?
role? To
Don't
see
cast him!
No. I mean, it'd be fascinating to see him play like a regular dude. Do you think he could do it?
No.
He could just play like a regular
No,
guy?
he couldn't
Like,
play a
hey,
fucking
what's up?
regular dude.
I'm Joe.
I will say this though. I will say if there's unfortunately ever like a biopic about me, cast Jared Leto, because
That would
it'll be weird and stupid.
Yeah, that would be weird.
He'd be like, how can I be Ravi but not be him?
Yeah,
Exactly. And guess what you get? Jared Leto.
Oh man.
Let's talk about Young Justice, because let's talk about something that is somewhat interesting, somewhat bizarre. I'm going to start with my hot take.
Oh.
So this is obviously season 4. Young Justice has been
Young
around.
Justice Phantoms.
Phantom. So this is the 4th season. It's been around for almost 10 years.
Yeah, because the first 2 seasons were on Cartoon Network, if
Yep.
I'm correct. Then the show was canceled. Had a cult following, and then a couple years ago, Warner Brothers, came out with the DC app, and they released the season 3 on the DC app, and the DC app folded, and it
Folded
was
into
HBO
Max,
Max,
yep.
and then now this 4th season is on HBO Max.
I'll say this, compared to the other seasons, this to me, the first 2 episodes especially, feel very, very slow to build up. The big thing that's interesting with Young Justice is they always do time jumps in between each season, very kind of anime-esque style, very, what we see in like Japanese animation, which I think is great because it speeds things up a little bit, but even so, it still feels that the first couple of these episodes have been pretty slow. It's not until the very, very end, that episode 4, where things kind of really come together and are quite spectacular and interesting
I kind of wish they released the first 4 episodes
at once.
Yes. Together, because
You
it
should've
is
done what I did.
a complete arc.
Or done what Christian did, because
Yeah.
you probably felt like it was good.
I thought it was great. So
Yeah.
Bobby was like, "Oh man, this is so boring and slow," and I watched all 4 episodes over 2 days, and I was like, "This just feels like Young Justice. This feels like any other season of Young Justice," because I binged all those other ones. I think for the most part. So yeah. So here's a pro tip. Right?
Pro tip from Christian.
Let some episodes build up and then watch them together.
Now say that again, but inspirational.
Near.
What the fuck?
I also think one thing that's a little misleading about this season of Young Justice, it was said in kind of the build up to the season was they were going to get back to focusing on the original Young Justice crew from season
the opening
1.
credits is very interesting.
And the opening credits references that, right?
Yeah.
They show a lot of those main characters while like I don't know if you guys remember season 3 Outsiders when they just did the weird like
The Outsiders.
alien noise and it was like Young Justice, so it's very intentional, but obviously these first 4 episodes really only focus on, McGann, Superboy. And
Who are
Beast
the
Boy.
originals?
Well, Beast Boy is not an original.
Sure, but like the big focus is on McGann and Superboy's wedding or soon to be wedding.
Right.
And then I think it still kind of works because Beast Boy is is secondary to that.
Sure.
So I mean, I'm wondering because you're saying that this season's broken up into arcs essentially.
That's
right?
what it feels like it's going to be at the very least.
Well, we're not sure, but it does feel like the very literal end of a certain element.
Which element was
At
that?
the end of
Spoilers.
spoilers alert. It seems to be that Superboy may have met his untimely end.
Oh, I didn't get that at all.
Season episode.
I don't think
4.
he's dead or anything.
Well,
of that
everyone
nature.
thinks he's
weird.
dead.
It'd be
No,
weird
I
if
didn't
he
get that at
was.
all. I got the idea that it's basically it's a perfect trap where he doesn't have enough energy himself to get out. And then number 2, there's kryptonite in the air, so Superman can't get in there. And then number 3, it's around fire, so no Martian can go near there. So he's basically kind of trapped. He may be, I don't think he's dead yet. He may be dying slowly, but that's what I
The
got from
characters
there.
definitely think he's dead. They even say he's dead. McGann is crying.
yeah, the characters, sure.
He's
But
dead,
I'm
like-
saying me as a viewer, I don't think that.
I think they want you to think he's dead.
I hope he is dead.
What? No, it's going to be a beautiful wedding.
No,
Is
he's-
there a Young Justice member who we haven't seen who could save him?
I'm trying to think of what power, because you would need basically
Can you boom tube into it?
Well, they had the boom tube that was created, but that blew up.
right.
So they have to reinstall a new one. I don't know if Superman.
So you would
Superman,
need
Martian-
Cyborg. I think would be the only one potentially able to get there.
Correct.
Maybe.
But in order for that to happen, he would have to take a twin jet
What about Zatanna and some magic?
potentially. I don't know how magic works.
What about
It's magical.
Oh wait, what's his face? The prince, the molten larva.
Yeah, he's
prince
bad.
Guy. He's bad, right? But he's potentially that's a power that could.
Oh yeah,
you know.
oh man,
And
that would
Beast
be a
Boy-
good
Beast Boy
tie-in.
Has a,
I read
has a
I
strong
read the
history with
situation differently. I think the way that they showed that scene and everything that was going on. Remember, we have the Legion of Superheroes. Legion of
Superheroes is how you have it listed.
The time traveling group from the future. I assume that they got him out of there, right? Because the way they showed it, the way it was kind of cut,
Oh, interesting.
it seems like they didn't show necessarily the exact point of where he would like die. They kind of showed the explosion and then they cut away and showed the.
Do you want a big spoiler in terms of comic spoilers?
Go ahead. Yeah, I think that.
So Legion of
that's helpful.
Superheroes, Superboy does team up with them,
Right.
along with Supergirl, ninth generation of Brainiac, like a whole bunch of.
Oh, right.
So like Legion of Superheroes, they do jump around in time and
Right.
pull other
They're time
superheroes.
travelers.
They're
'Cause
time travelers.
They
Yeah.
talk about through these first 4 episodes, like not wanting to mess with the timeline
Yep.
too much, et cetera, et cetera. But they're there for a very specific reason. I think that.
So you think they pull Superboy?
Yeah.
That would be kind of cool because based on the fact that the season is called Phantoms, Legion of Superheroes are kind of just running around in the shadows. Potentially they are pulling superheroes to help with a greater threat in the future and then potentially putting them back after this is done.
Have we seen
That
the
would be
Legion?
kinda cool.
Have we seen the Legion before in previous seasons?
We did at the
We
very
saw
end
the
of
ring.
season 3.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So it was
I forgot
it was at the end of Outsiders. There's a reference to the to them. That we kind
Yeah, basically, there's a person walking by and they have a ring on, and that symbol is the Legion of Superheroes.
Yeah.
So it's showing that they've been around or they're around watching these events, kind of like another guy, the Watcher.
And they also have like the fact that
bunch of voyeurs, creepy.
It's the fact that one of them helped a Beast Boy as well. Seems to imply that they've been watching them for a while, maybe. And have like
at the very least since they got to Mars.
Since they got to Mars.
Yeah.
To Mars.
That's true. To Mars.
Speaking about Mars, so this obviously we got a lot more about the Martian culture in
politics
in DC Comics, more than like I even realized that there was that much plethora of information, because I've always looked at the Martians in DC with John Jones, the Martian Manhunter. But I guess there's an entirely political thing with red Martians, green Martians, white Martians, a caste system.
Yeah.
How did you guys feel about all the politics and kind of the racism that you saw on Mars?
I mean, I think it's a good analogy of like what is out there, especially because, I think in a lot of media where you see like extraterrestrials, you see a lot of that like xenophobia, the isms kind of come out, right? Like that's part of, I think, a storytelling trope that we use where, there's the fear of the unknown and what we don't know. So I think it's I think having, it's been in the comics obviously for a lot of decades. So I do think it's, it's a good way to kind of tell that story with the actual aliens, right, within their own society instead of like the humans versus the aliens. It's like, there are these like biases and these like these hatreds towards each other, and it's not funny, but like it obviously they say a lot, but there's genetically no difference between multiple characters say there's literally no difference. Beast Boy talks about like the taste, and it's like I can't taste a difference between a white Martian and a green Martian. There's no difference. There's the genetic bomb that Darkseid's general kind of sense, and he's like it should, but there's like no differences between you guys, so it could kill all of you.
Good luck.
I mean, no, he was saying it will kill who it's supposed to kill, but he says it's the one genetic marker for skin tone. Right. Literally everything else is the same.
Right.
There is, for all intents and purposes, it's the same people.
Yeah.
I liked it. It was kind of interesting that you had that extra element of them all being psychic and able to change their appearance to be anything that they want. That adds a whole other layer to it as well, which I thought was pretty cool.
Do you think anyone watched this and was like, Martians are so stupid and petty, not realizing what's going on in our own world?
I sincerely hope not, but you know.
Yeah,
there's also an irony like that. A race of shapeshifters are racist against appearance.
Yeah.
When you can
literally
be
change
anything that you literally want to be,
and also the fact that they communicate psychically,
right?
Which would imply that should remove the problems of communication, right? With us is that language is imperfect. A psychic link should remove that barrier, right? Though it does seem like they are still using like a psychic language, which maybe then implies that there could still be miscommunication.
I didn't get an idea that there was a difference in like how psychically they talk to each other. And I think the caste system for them is just a physical appearance.
No. What I mean by that is like me and you having a conversation, and because of we hear it audibly, right?
Right.
And the communication's imperfect. You would think that a species where they're psychically communicating, that you may be able to remove some like miscommunication, like or misinterpretation,
like tonality and stuff.
If they're still using words in their minds, then perhaps that's still not the case. Maybe they still can misinterpret. That part's kind of interesting. I hope they delve into that a little bit more.
I feel like if you had to talk to my ADHD brain, that you would have more trouble than if you tried to talk to me with words. It would make I think it would be insane.
Well, there's a whole thing in there about like quieting the mind.
Yeah.
They're clearly like
Watching
experts
your
at
thoughts,
that.
yeah.
Basically, Lerman, I don't think they have ADHD on Mars.
Oh.
It's called Mars.
And there's that.
And yeah. Oh man.
Darkseid's general and Darkseid in general. See what I did there?
I don't get it.
Anyway, I use general in two different ways, even though the word sounds the same, but they mean two different things. Do you want me to explain English to you?
Yeah.
I believe it's
Maybe if we had a psychic
if we had a
connection.
psychic link, maybe we
would
avoid
have.
some of
Yeah,
This would be a very quiet podcast.
it would be. Let's just have a conversation staring deeply at each other. But Darkseid's still around. Does anyone remember or want to give a recap in season 3 what he was doing then?
Oh, Granny Smith.
Granny was doing some shit.
Yes.
And Darkseid was also doing some shit.
Well, he got pissed with Granny at the end.
He did.
Do you guys remember in the Zack Snyder cut of Justice League, we got a CGI Granny?
Oh yeah,
Yes.
it's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Young
That's
Justice
all I-
Granny was still better.
I'm actually confused about what Darkseid did at the end of season 3 because I
He
can only
killed
think of
Granny.
Darkseid from
Did he kill her?
Justice League.
Well, he was pissed with her, so I'm sure he like put her on Apocalypse and tortured her or whatever.
Well, I mean,
but-
I think the Darkseid arc is essentially what we see in most DC arcs. He's pulling all of his strings once again. What was this organization called? That's like the secret one.
The Light.
The Light. He's running the Light. They're basically reporting to him. He's planning his world, his galaxy, universe, world domination. And it feels like that's what Young Justice is going to build up towards. That whole.
So do we think we're finally
Darkseid
gonna
conflict.
get a big like resolution with Darkseid come end of season 4? Do you think we'll push that down the road?
I think that's going to keep getting kicked down the road. Like, I think that's when the creators will be like, this is going to be the final season of Young Justice.
Do you guys remember how Justice League Unlimited ended?
Did I ever see that?
Probably.
It's
don't think
it
I
was a
did.
dark side conflict, right?
It was basically Darkseid was a big part of Justice League. They eventually, air quote, killed him at one point. There was also a similar arc in Justice League where the world was afraid of the Justice League because of their big cannon in the sky. But basically, Justice League ends when Lex Luthor unfortunately combines and brings back Brainiac and combines Brainiac with Darkseid to make this like Brainiac Darkseid super being. Like we're talking like think of like Vision. What's the Ultimate Vision called in?
Vision,
Ultron Vision? Or
Ultron Vision, yeah,
whatever it was
yeah,
called.
whatever it's called. Basically, like that level of power running around, and it ends up being that Lex Luthor has to become what's known as the new Morbius, which we've actually seen in Young Justice, which is kind of like a Watcher-esque type character where he's able to go between all realities, time, space, and everything, and just kind of do stuff. But in Justice League, Lex becomes the new that in order to take Darkseid away out of the equation, just kind of ends it like that, and that's just how it ends. So I'm wondering if there's going to be, because my theory is, my big bro prediction is Legion of Superheroes, they're there pulling superheroes out to help them with a Brainiac problem in the future,
Right.
and that Brainiac is going to somehow come back to the present, and then maybe a season 5 is going to be a Brainiac Darkseid thing, and then it's going to end in some big epic battle or some kind of philosophical thing.
Cool.
Because what's weird is like we have seen Mobius, we have seen the end of the universe. Remember in season 3, there was a part where I think, who was it? It was some of the new outsiders were taken to like the edge.
Right.
There was that whole thing, with the new character from the outsiders, the one that came back to life. There was something with her.
Halo?
Yeah, Halo.
Yeah.
So I think she still has an important part to play in all this.
Yeah.
I think so.
Because I think she's supposed to be like the child of Mobius's technology or something.
Because she's the combination of like a mother box.
Yeah.
In the previous the body that the mother box inhabited.
Yep. Yeah. So that's that.
Justice.
Wow.
Was it good?
You asking me? You just asking randomly?
No, you can ask first.
Oh, Juna. Was Justice League episodes 1 through 4 of season 4 good?
Well,
Young Justice.
yeah, I
not
was going to
Justice
say
League.
Justice League is an older show. I couldn't specifically say, but yeah, I would say that this was ultimately a good and successful arc. I'm excited for the rest of the season. You know, Young Justice is good, but I might like wait a few weeks to binge every few weeks for the arcs and whatnot. But
It's the only way.
I actually don't know how long the season's going to be. I think the last season was like 24 episodes or so. I don't know
It was a longer season.
I don't know if this one's also going to be
They've
long.
all been pretty long. I went back and checked. Season 1 was like 26 episodes.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Well, because the first 2 seasons were like weeklies on TV, and these last 2 seasons have been streaming. I kind of wish they just did the dump. You know, that'd be nice.
The dump.
I love dumps.
HBO Max to Arjun on Twitter. We're gonna be taking dumps all over your TV screen.
Woo! I'm ready.
It's Dump Central.
Dump Central.
HBO Dumpster Fire.
Oh, shit.
Ravi, was Superboy's death heroic?
It was not heroic. It could have been avoided 19 different ways.
I mean, you didn't get a little emotional when he was punching the ground and his fists are bleeding.
No, I stood up and was like, "Whoa, there's blood on this show.
It's violent.
This show's violent."
But were the first 4 episodes good?
Overall, when you look at them, and I'm sure if I watched it back to back, yes, it would. You know, yes, it's good. Again, I agree. Like, it's tough to watch these things and really kind of be engaged when you have to wait week to week.
Yeah.
Granted, they are doing what, 2 a week?
1.
So how? Oh, because it's been
3
2
weeks.
It's been 3 weeks.
They did the first week was 2 episodes, and
then
it's
they-
been an episode and an episode.
Yeah, so I think I have to wait a little bit.
All right, so we'll talk
because-
about this show next July.
Right? I mean, it's gonna take forever for this to end. Like, that's what happened with season 3 too. It took
Cool.
like a good almost year for it to be
We
done.
I looked back for that pod. We just did the whole season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we might keep an eye on it if there's some kind of major.
Crazy arcs.
I'm
Yeah.
sure there will be a break,
Right.
like a big,
I
midweek
think there was
break.
last season too.
Yeah.
So the reason I said this one was just because of the Superboy stuff. I thought it was a big enough
Yeah.
deal to talk about.
You know what? I bet what's gonna happen is we're gonna get like the first half of Young Justice season 1 up until like Comic-Con of like next year. Either that or like whenever the next DC day is, and then after that you'll see the next batch. It's probably what's gonna happen.
Well, once again, they said, you know, if there's going to be a season 5, it's depends on what the consumer numbers are for the show.
well, then they need to do a better like release job. Otherwise, you're gonna lose fans. I think.
Yeah.
Because if you hadn't said anything about Young Justice, I don't think I would have even known.
Right.
Because like again, marketing wise, there's not been a lot of
Doesn't
like.
seem like there's a big push.
Yeah. It's like there's a streaming. It's like Patty Jenkins was right about streaming. Just kidding. She wasn't. Those statements were stupid. Krishna
Christopher Nolan.
was Krishna was Young Justice season 4 episodes 1 through 4 good.
Ooh. Yeah, it was good. I liked it. It feels very much in line with what Young Justice is. Young superheroes trying to fix the worlds, and sometimes failing, sometimes succeeding, and it's a fun time.
You have a fun time?
You having a good
Yeah.
time? Good time over there?
That was a
Good time.
A good time.
Uh,
but yeah, I will be waiting to binge all of the.
I have a random question for you, Krishna.
For me,
Yeah, it's something I just remembered. I remembered like when I first moved into this spot, Mom and Dad gave me their old white wicker chair.
Oh yeah.
Do you watch your TV shows in that wicker chair?
Yes.
Do you knit while you watch your shows?
Do I knit?
You
No, but
should
I
pick up
should.
knitting. And then you're like loudly talking to yourself, like, why'd they do that?
Yeah. I've got my spectacles on.
Yeah, you're like getting into old age.
Yeah,
There you go.
got my shawl on.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
My
real quick, I
bifocals.
just mentioned Christopher Nolan. We don't have a wasn't news section, but noteworthy that for his newest movie, they just cast Robert Downey Jr. and Matt Damon.
Motherfucking Matt Damon.
And Downey Jr. as part of the new Christopher.
The
Christopher Nolan.
Oppenheimer
World,
music?
World War II.
World War One, World War Two.
Because it's about the atom bomb.
Oh yeah, so World War Two.
II.
Yes, World War II is when the
was
atom
like,
bomb. You should not question that. That's your history.
Sorry,
Arjuna,
I'm not a. You know,
Arjuna, did the U.S. public schools fail you?
Yes.
I didn't memorize all the my bombs and when they came out.
Well, you should have.
Yes.
Bombed. But yeah, so it's and then I think I always forget how you say his name. Is it Cillian Murphy?
Cillian Murphy.
Cillian Murphy.
Cillian.
Oh, another.
He's going to be the star of the movie.
So
He's the
another
lead.
Nolan alum.
Wait, no, he's in like every Nolan movie.
Yeah,
Most
he's
of
Not
in a
them.
every
lot.
single one, but like 90% of them.
But he's going to be the actual
Yeah, he's
lead.
never been this.
I
he's
actually,
gonna actually
I
lead
just
this
watched A
one.
Quiet Place 2 finally on the aeroplane recently.
Oh, was it good?
It was very good. I
Really?
quite enjoyed that. And Cillian Murphy is in that film.
Is it better than the first one, which is just a hugely sexist movie?
Yes.
Do you remember
Way
watching that
better.
at Carson where we're just like,
Yes.
I
Yes.
did not like that movie.
The second one is a lot better, and I think the reason they are so effective is they do quite a good job with world building.
yeah.
And they are very simple stories at the end of the day. And then they kind of end for the most part, like they've all ended like on cliffhangers. And they have said like they want to keep doing more, so we'll see.
Right, because money.
Money is an important thing. Wow, wow, wow. Money.
Wow, wow, wow.
Speaking of money, Disney Plus is in a bind and needed more money, so they quickly came up with this show called Book of Boba Fett.
Wait, they're in a bind?
I'm kidding. Everything I just said except for the fact that Book of Boba Fett is coming out was false.
Do you think they came up with the like name first and like, well, what should this be? And then they had like a marketing meeting. They're like, all right, here are all the ideas we have of what a Book of Boba Fett show could be. And someone was like, what if it's Boba Fett just reading books to your children?
I hope so.
I think now that we've seen this is the first official full trailer, and now
I
that
haven't
we've
seen it yet.
and now we've finally
you gonna
seen
watch
it,
I don't know.
I think we should have Christian watch it right now, and
Live react?
we can have you live react.
Yeah, go for it.
I'm not sure how this is going to translate on a podcast, or Junior, you'll have to maybe cut some of this.
It's going to be brilliant. People will love listening to him
Yeah,
watch.
let's find it here. Is it on YouTube, you think?
Is the Book of Boba Fett trailer on YouTube? I would
We
hope so.
Disney's
love to-
like we're only putting our trailers exclusively on Disney Plus.
Are we allowed to capture sound?
Yeah, that's fine.
Are we?
I have to start again here.
Yeah. That's
Oh, nice.
fine.
Ooh.
So who's that?
Tamara Morrison.
I don't know. It's a good question.
Who says I've heard otherwise?
Isn't that Boba?
The first one says you'll keep watching.
Oh,
It's Carl
wow.
Weathers.
Okay, we got some bounty hunters.
Is Duncan
Oh, was it an
Jones?
Ithorian? That was an Ithorian. Nice, nice.
He did lose a little weight. It looks like he lost a little.
I know
bit of
it's
weight.
not going to work now when I cosplay. I have to lose my. I put on this belly just for this costume.
Aren't you Boba Fresh though?
Yeah, but like the Boba Fresh from the Mandalorian, not from Book of Boba. He's fit.
Yeah, but that's before his armor gets fixed. His armor's bad and corporation can make us all rich.
Corporation. I got remember the 501st storyline from Battlefront 2?
Yeah.
Got like that vibes because he does the narration in that. Got those vibes, which was great.
So does the Book of Boba Fett take place before or after the Mandalorian series?
Takes place
After.
after the second season of Mandalorian.
Oh, thought it was before because he has all his armor still dirty like it was before.
No,
it got
the
cleaned.
armor's a little bit dirtier, but not to the extent it was that you see in season 2 of Mandalorian.
Oh, well, I totally misunderstood the whole concept of this show.
Book of Boba
I thought
Fett.
it was about him
December
escaping the
29th.
Sarlacc pit and reestablishing
No,
himself.
it's
No.
because he doesn't get the armor back until he gets it from Mando.
Well, no, I mean, I thought
season
it
two,
was
yeah.
he escapes, does his thing, then loses his armor.
Right.
And
And
goes
then
back into
Mando.
the... Oh, no.
No, and then Mando happens. I thought this was a prequel.
No, this is going to be post Mandalorian season 2. Almost immediately, I would say, after you see that post-credit scene where
He kills.
he goes and he kills
our good friend.
Fat Face.
Yeah.
Pink
Jabba the
Twi'lek
Hutt.
head.
Pink
The
Twi'lek
Twi'lek,
face.
yeah.
Jabba the Hutt.
No, but based on the name Book of Boba Fett and what we see in this first trailer, I get this sense of a mob story, and kind of the way I look at it is like a mob and gangsters, they have like a book, right? In terms of who owes you what money. You know, you can look at it from that sense where it's like Book of Boba Fett is he's taking over a criminal organization. You know, people are going to owe him money, et cetera, et cetera. So that's the vibe that I get. The other way you could look at it is even in the trailer he says, you know, Jabba led by fear. He wants to do something different with respect, you know, kind of setting up rules.
Honorable thieves.
Book of Boba Fett could just be his rule book that you people need to live by. And then the third option is just money. Disney wants more fucking money.
I think this is actually just going to be him reading books to children.
You still get that vibe, huh?
Yeah.
I mean,
well, I honestly don't get any vibe from this trailer. I feel like everything
is
It
generic.
was such a weird trailer, and I don't hate that they really didn't show anything, because it definitely feels like it's like this is the first like 5 minutes of the first episode, which hopefully, because we didn't learn anything, and like I'm okay with that, because even like the first season of Mandalorian, remember, we were obviously lucky enough to see it at
Celebration
2 years ago in Chicago, but it's like it looked cool. You saw obvious cool shit, but it's like I don't know what the show is about.
I had no idea.
And I kind of like that. I kind of like when you, especially for these Star Wars episodes, these Star Wars shows, where it's like I don't need the premise, spoon fed to me.
Well, some of us,
and it's you quickly figure it out, right? Like Mandalorians, you figured out what the show was about, after that first episode. So
I also think
it's
interesting that the beginning of the trailer is, I heard you're not a bounty hunter. Right. So it's almost like Disney's establishing this is not going to be a story about Boba Fett bounty hunting.
We already have
so
that.
Get that, get that out of your heads. This is something different.
This is about Boba Fett, the crime boss.
Yeah, basically, and
Boba the Hutt.
Boba the Hutt.
Boba
Booty hunter.
the Hutt. Well, now, there's obviously a lot of people were, maybe concerned is too strong of a word, but a lot of people are curious about how does it work when you have this character who really, for so long, was just
the cool guy standing
just a
there.
cool guy in the background.
Cool guy.
Essentially, wasn't, like Boba obviously is in the movies, and it's not like he's a minor character, but he's not exactly,
He's not Han Solo. He's not Luke Skywalker.
He has songs written
He's not
about
Darth
him.
Vader.
But he's not, right, but he's essentially just a means to an end, in terms of kind of his functionality within the movies. And then obviously with Mandalorian season 2, you got a ton more on him in one season than you did in 3 movies, and whatnot. And obviously there have been the non-canonical books and whatnot that expanded a little bit more on his origin. But, do we think he can effectively lead a whole show by himself? Like, do we think Boba Fett is an interesting enough character, or does this kind of like demystify him a little?
So the actor Tamora
Morrison.
Tamora Morrison, in my mind, has a very distinct voice, and himself as an actor, I think he is going to be the reason that Boba Fett is going to be interesting and super cool, is because he comes across as this kind of grounded individual that is clearly clearly has a goal and wants to do whatever. And because we have such a strong actor behind it, I think it's going to make it interesting. Right. If it was like a generic, like let's say for example, they went the route of the Mandalorian, where
it's a fetch quest.
It's a D&D quest, but in the sense that like it's a person in armor and you get no facial expressions, you get no proper kind of dialogue that you can see lips moving and,
but that's already so different from like the Boba that from the original trilogy,
Exactly,
right?
exactly.
So I guess then the question is like, this is the storytelling question. Like, is it worthy of just doing something completely different with the same character or having a new character? Right?
No, do it with a character that you knew already, because he was the cool, mysterious character, and now we've gone over that. Like, we get it. He's the cool guy with the cool ship that Vader likes to use to go on bounty hunt for Jabba the Hutt to finance his vet. Wiki. But now we know that, like, right? Like, that's established. That's great. But now in order to, like, evolve the character, because Boba Fett is a fan favorite character, right? Because of the cool factor. Now make something different and interesting and give us a weird, wacky story in this land.
It's kind of interesting, right? So he's a part of episode 2.
And was supposed to, George Lucas had said that episode 3 originally had a subplot with Boba killing Mace Windu. That was originally how he wanted Mace to die.
Oh, interesting.
But he couldn't fit it into the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then obviously we have Clone Wars and Rebels tie-ins, and then potentially assuming Bad Batch, right?
Yeah,
At some
I mean,
point.
well, Fennec is obviously a huge part of this trailer, and
Right.
she's obviously was a big part of Bad Batch.
So so they've already whether we think that a live action can carry it or not, Disney does believe the character is strong enough and is popular enough with some of the unmasking that we've already done, right? We've sort of got snapshots of his life before he becomes truly Boba Fett, and now we're gonna see sort of his like post bounty hunting career life.
We're also gonna get a lot more of the underworld too, and I'm hoping we're gonna get a lot more of like Crimson Dawn.
Are they still around at this point?
In theory, I have no idea. I mean, because there's reference to the the Black Suns, which is the other big criminal organization. So we're gonna get a lot more like non-Empire and non-Rebel stuff, which I think, if I'm looking at what the series, like the live actions, like also we just have Mandalorian to go off of, but what they're doing is they're kind of like establishing, giving us more of the universe outside of those two little groups, because there is so much more happening, and I think that makes Star Wars feel more alive, more like bigger than what it is. I would hate, like I really hope this show's not going to go in the first 2 episodes, I'm now Jabba or Boba the Hutt, or I'm the leader of Boba the Hutt or whatever. And here's my Boba tea. No, but I really hope it's not going to obviously like dive into like we now have to go and do a mission to either fuck over the rebels or fuck over the Empire. Like I really hope there's no rebels, no Empire in this. I just want to see straight hardcore underworld and just the
crime on crime,
the crime shit, right?
Yes.
And I also hope
Law and order.
I also hope like the other thing too is like with your question about doing the show and lifting the mystery of Boba Fett. I also kind of hope that we don't see this like I don't want to see a good guy, right? I want to see the in between, which is difficult based on what we've already seen him.
Oh, in that trailer, he's like, I want to lead differently. He's like, I want to. He doesn't say it directly. Obviously, he's like, I want to hold hands, sing kumbaya.
I didn't get that. I think it was his level of fear is so Jabba the Hutt's level of fear was just straight like I'm going to show I'm going to torture or I'm going to show like death to you directly. Boba's fear tactic looks like just pure intimidation, right? Just straight up essentially staring you down and creeping you out.
Yeah, I just kind of hope that he's not going to be a hero now.
Yeah,
like
I don't want a hero.
One of the best parts of Mando season 2 is just that crazed look you see in his like eyes when he's like fighting stormtroopers with his like staff or whatever.
And we see it in this trailer again.
Yeah, I think that's the cool thing or part to explore with him.
And who's directing or kind of front running this Book of Boba?
It's Robert Rodriguez and Dave Filoni.
Yeah.
Wow.
So Robert Rodriguez being in there, I think, is great because his episode of Mandalorian season 2 is one of the best. Yeah. One of the best like action sequences.
Oh man, just seeing the ship fly down.
Yeah.
What's that?
What is it?
Wait, was that an actual line? I don't remember. Something.
No, but essentially that's how they treat it. They're like, there's a ship over there, and then they just cut to it, and you're like, that's the ship.
That's the Boba Fett ship.
Yeah.
I know that ship.
I think what I might...
Actually, technically, it has now been renamed the Boba
right,
Fett ship and no longer
Slave
Slave One. They've removed that from marketing and like
I
toys.
understand.
I think that's fine.
And
then guess what? Like growing up, when we saw that, what did you didn't say, "Look, Mom and Dad, that's Slave One." No, you're like, "Look, that's the Boba Fett ship."
Yeah.
So just call it that.
I knew it by its name.
But I'm excited to see Fennec. She was featured in this trailer a lot. She really kind of was one of the brighter spots I thought for Bad Batch, and I'm excited to see like that character's growth. I think she could be like sneakily the star of the show. Obviously it is called Book of Boba, but she seems like the character that has just a lot you can dive in with, especially like what you saw in Bad Batch, what you've seen in Mandalorian seasons 1 and 2, and kind of like potentially bridging those two stories together, and also what's like post that too.
What would you do if Hi, I'm Omega shows up in Book of
I think
Boba?
there's a good chance that we'll see an adult Omega.
Yeah.
Just because,
or a Bad Batch member, or all of them potentially.
Right. I think all of that's on the table, especially what we saw in Book of Boba and how important those characters are, and the whole cloning facility. I think we all thought Boba Fett himself was going to show up in Bad Batch, and he didn't. But season 2 is still on the table. Like, it just seems inevitable that all these characters will kind of cross paths. I mean, especially like if you remember Mando season 2 when they run into the Mandalorians. There's all that clone banter that they put in there, right? If like, you know, you're this clone and that clone. I would be shocked if this show doesn't explore any of that part, you know, the prequel part of his origin, right, where he is a clone, right?
I hope we
There's
see
a bunch of people running around with his face.
I hope we see some like him beat up some Death Watch.
Oh wow!
It feels take some revenge out.
This show feels like Dave Filoni playing ping pong with himself. Like, so Mandalorian, you know, returns to serve to Bad Batch, and now Bad Batch is sending the ball back, and we got Book of Boba. So, you know, it would be shocking if elements don't appear. Because I think Dave Filoni obviously has a master plan, and he wants these elements, and it's cool to see elements generations apart and see how you see something here, and you're like, well, we got to see how that developed over here, and vice versa.
Yeah, everything seems intentional, and it does seem like there will be some type of payoff, and I think Filoni has kind of proven, you know, he's a master at doing that. And then, you know, you just think about all the shows that are coming out with, like, the Ahsoka show's coming out, right? We know there's going to be, like, a live-action Ezra and you know, stuff continuation from,
yeah, that was announced.
Star Wars Rebels.
Or at least there was a rumor of a casting rumor.
The rumor is that the actor who played Aladdin
is going to
be the live action.
Yeah, my audition tape got lost or burned or was never sent.
I never sent
Yeah, it was kind of like when I auditioned for the Aladdin play. You know, I wanted to be Aladdin, but then they cast me as an old white dude.
And then they cast a white guy as Aladdin.
Yeah.
I mean, this is New Hampshire. It makes sense.
That's very progressive of them. It doesn't matter.
What would what would have to happen, or what would you have to see in Book of Boba Fett to make you be like, all right, I'm just not going to continue, or I'm just going to wait till it's done and binge it later?
I mean, if it's just boring, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, the potential is there. Let's be honest, right? If the show starts off slow, Mandalorian, what they had right and what got you invested to watch every episode when it came out was the appearance of Baby Yoda at the end of episode 1.
Grogu.
Right there and then, that was it. Like, it was game over. You were in, you know. Book of Boba doesn't necessarily need to pull you in that quickly or that dramatically because it has Mandalorian that's sort of piggybacking off of. That being said, if the first 3 episodes are a little bit slow, don't grab me right away. I wouldn't have a problem with, I'm just going to wait till it's all out and then binge it because, like many shows that we've talked about recently, I enjoy them personally more when I'm able to watch them back to back. It becomes a stronger show.
Yeah, I think, you know, what's interesting about The Mandalorian is, and I don't think it's really been replicated, at least for me, across any of the streaming shows like the other MCU Disney Plus shows. It's just there was like a level of epicness to it. Right, and it just felt like appointment television. Like it felt like, and granted, I did do this for the Marvel shows too, but for at least The Mandalorian, it's like I felt like I had to wait and stay up till midnight to watch it, and it was just an exciting time to be able to watch like that story at midnight. You know, the opening theme song, you know, the cinematography, everything like that, and I feel like this show, you know, it's kind of like dubbed Mandalorian season 2.5, right? So if it doesn't do that, it would be kind of weird, especially it is on Tatooine and whatnot. So yeah,
everyone's favorite Star Wars planet, Tatooine.
Do we think the whole show? Do we think the whole season will be on Tatooine?
No, because he's leading a crime organization. I think we're gonna. Well, no, I think we're gonna. I think we're gonna see Coruscant. There was early, like years ago, there was early development of a TV show about a crime. Like it was gonna be like a Boba Fett, not Boba Fett type story about the lower levels of Coruscant. Like it was called like level 1313 or something.
Right.
And a lot of the concept art actually from there is which is what actually helped with the ultimate design of the Mandalorian costume, and some of those elements there.
Interesting.
So I wouldn't be surprised if I would be surprised if we don't see Coruscant at all, which would be kind of cool. And what would be super cool
So we see Cad Bane and Boba.
No. If we see like, because correct me if I'm wrong, doesn't Luke reestablish something on Coruscant, or the rebels establish like something on Coruscant because it's the capital?
You mean the rebels or the New Republic?
New Republic.
The New Republic has their Senate or what, something there.
Well, that's by the time of Episode 7. I'm just wondering between that time period. Anyway, I think we're going to end up on Coruscant. I think it'll be kind of cool. Hell, maybe we'll see the old Jedi Temple, which is now a Spirit Halloween costume store. Anyone see that? Anyone see that like meme thing?
No,
This is around Halloween, but somebody was like, "What do you think they did with the old Jedi Temple? They turned it into a Spirit Halloween costume."
That's awesome.
I mean, that'd be pretty funny.
That would be awesome.
Turned into Jar Jar's
Jar Jar's palace.
complex.
Maybe we'll see a Jar Jar Binks.
Now he should be chilling on Naboo at this point.
That's going to be the thing that pulls everyone in week to week. Is there's like an end scene and Jar Jar just shows up.
Jar Jar.
So I mean, look, Mando season 1, the episode 1 stinger was Grogu. Mando season 2, the episode 1 stinger was obviously Boba. What do we think the Book of Boba episode 1 stinger is going to be? Because it's clear it's something that's
Maybe it's
layered into the DNA of these shows, right?
Maybe it probably can't be Omega, right?
I don't think Omega would be big enough.
Exactly.
Right?
It wouldn't sound well.
Well, it would also be one of those things where it's like you look at it and people are like, "Cool, who's that?"
Yeah.
Right. They'll be like, what?
Yeah.
So it'd have to be something like, maybe
Poe Dameron shows up.
Oh, I know.
As a kid.
Grogu will appear at the end of episode 1.
Grogu and Boba Fett will appear at the end of episode.
Bad CGI Luke. He's just walking in the background.
Oh man.
No, maybe it's Uncle Ben.
Maybe it's Commander
He never
Rex.
died. We didn't know that was his skeleton at the end of episode 4.
He's just been chilling.
Yeah, he's just been chilling and hiding, getting drunk in the pub.
Oh, man.
What's his face? Joel Edgerton. This is where he'll reprise his role. Before
Joel
the
Edgerton.
Obi-Wan show.
I guess we should ask the question here, guys.
Oh.
Arjuna, was Book of Boba... I'm going to keep saying Book of Boba, but it's the Book of Boba Fett trailer good, and will you be watching the show?
Wow.
Yeah, it was a solid trailer. I wouldn't say necessarily it was like good. I think it was good because it didn't show anything.
Right.
Right. But I think I recognize most people won't like that and be like, well, what's the point of this trailer? Which is a fair question.
But real quick, though, like, the one thing is, to your point about the Mandalorian trailers, and, like, now this trailer, when it comes to the TV streaming stuff, the trailers haven't ever been, like, these big epics when you compare them to, like, the new sequel movies.
Right.
Where I think we can definitively say, like, the sequel movie trailers are significantly better than the movies themselves.
The Rise of Skywalker trailer is so much better than the movie.
Yeah, that's how I want to remember that movie, is that trailer. So I think maintain what they're doing with like these trailers.
Yeah. So yeah, I would say that. And of course, I'm going to watch this show. I'm very excited for it. December 29th.
2 days before the year ends.
2 days later.
Krishna,
Yes.
was the Book of Boba Fett trailer number 1 good?
Yeah, it was good. It was good because it feels like at least it seemed like the same quality as Mandalorian, which I think is a very high quality show, as we've sort of established already. So that's good. It doesn't seem like there's going to be, hopefully, knock on wood, any drop off in production there. So yeah, it was good. Like you said, doesn't give too much away. Sort of tickles your fancy. It gets you back into that universe again with some pretty familiar imagery. So that is what a trailer should do. Ravi, was the Book of Boba trailer good to you?
It was good. Similar to what you all said, doesn't tickle your fancy too much.
Or just enough?
Just enough.
Just the right amount.
Just the right tickle.
Just enough.
Around that area.
Yeah.
But I also want to throw a bold prediction, too. So the trailer says that the series will start on December 29th. December 29th is a Wednesday. Granted, Disney Plus Marvel shows have been dropping on Wednesdays because I feel the Wednesdays is better. I believe they're going to change that and that they're going to drop it Christmas Eve, which is the 24th, a Friday.
Why?
Because it will lead right into the holidays, and then they will own the holidays truly and properly.
That would make more sense.
But Hawkeye ends on the 22nd.
Who gives a fuck?
Yeah.
About
Honestly,
Hawkeye?
Hawkeye,
But don't you think like they're looking?
They don't want to cannibalize.
They don't want to cannibalize their
Potentially,
own stuff on their own feed.
Maybe.
I mean, who knows? Like High School Musical, the musical series, was on at the same time as like I think WandaVision.
I had no idea that even
Soldier.
existed.
And it was on the same day, and people were like, "What are you guys doing?"
Wait, what big?
Probably.
Are there any other big series toward the end of this year, beginning of next year? Obviously, we've got Book of Boba. We've got second half of Attack on Titan early next year. Anything else?
Hawkeye.
No, no.
Cobra Kai.
Cobra Kai.
Cobra Kai.
I think it's coming back similar, like New Year's Eve.
wow.
Again on Netflix, like it did last year. So we should.
But that'll be a dump.
We should do the right. We should do what we did last year and watch
Eggnog and Cobra Kai.
literally New Year's.
Also
Day.
Saturday. Yes, the Saturday.
Just watch the whole.
Yeah, I'd be game with that.
Like,
But yeah, that's going to do it for us here on Was It Good? As always, you can find us on TikTok and Instagram at Was It Good Pod. On Twitter, we give our updates on what we're discussing at Was It Good.
yeah, we do.
Our live show, or excuse me, our full VOD show and other full fun clips can be found on youtube.com/wasitgood. Our next pod is going to be this Friday on Marvel's newest MCU film, Eternals. From what I've been told from our resident Arjuna, it is a film. And I'll leave you with that.
All right.